stations, but also in their communities and many further afield. I'm sure you will join with me in wishing Alan well. We're living in challenging times and have undoubtedly increased the relevance and importance of the work of the Fishermen's Mission. This year, our ability to hold the annual general meeting in person has been thwarted by the COVID-19 pandemic and resulted in our first ever online AGM. Happily, I can report we have 40 association members online today, courtesy of Zoom, and we are therefore quorate. Whilst the focus today is on the mission year 2018-19, we will of course bring you up to date with the impact on and response from the Fishermen's Mission to the pandemic. Regarding the conduct of the meeting, you should all have received an updated agenda yesterday, replacing the one originally sent out with a calling notice for this meeting. There was a minor numbering error on the first one. All attendees' microphones and video cameras are muted. You will be unmuted if you have a question. If you have a question relating to a resolution, please use the raise your hand icon, or if a more general question, please submit it via the chat facility. And these will be answered under item 9, AOB. Voting by association members only will be carried out by using the raise your hand button, but to make the process more efficient, only use this if you do not support the resolution. Basically, if you're happy, do nothing. Finally, I should advise you that the proceedings are being recorded for the record. It now gives me great pleasure to ask the very Reverend David Lacey to lead us in prayer.
Good morning, everyone. Hebrews 4:14-16. We have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, who, because of his likeness to us, can sympathize with our weaknesses. Let us therefore boldly approach the throne of our gracious God, where we may receive mercy and in his grace find timely help. Let us pray. Lord, you were there in isolation, in desperation, in powerlessness, in weakness, in grief, and in death. You were there in inspiration, in exaltation, in loving human relationships, in faithfulness, in endurance, in resurrection, and in ascension. So once you lived everything there, and now you are everywhere here, one with the power of God, and yet knowing all our weakness. So we worship you and ask for your mercy and help. Divided physically, make us one in your spirit. Renew our vision for the work of the Fishermen's Mission. Invigorate all our port staff, office staff, association members, volunteers and trustees. Bless all those fishermen and their families whom the mission now serves, and whom, by our obedience to your guidance, the mission will serve. In the work of the mission and in this meeting, let the glory be yours, Lord Jesus, with the Father and the Holy Spirit, one God. Now together we pray in your words, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Chairman.
Thank you, David. Thank you very much. We now, on the agenda, main business, the first item, item 1, minutes of the last meeting. That was our meeting on the 9th of April 2019. They were distributed after the meeting and I've not received any comments. Does anybody have any comments now? Thank you. Could I therefore have a proposer for the acceptance of those minutes, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is Simon Golding. I move that the minutes of the previous meeting are approved.
Thank you, Simon. And a seconder, please.
Chairman, Jeremy de Halpert, I second that motion.
Thank you, Sir Jeremy. Now, my brief says a show of hands, but having, as I said at the beginning, please don't show your hands unless you wish to say something. So if anybody has a problem with the minutes being signed off, please indicate now. Right, I'm not getting any feedback from Dean, so the resolution is approved. Moving on to item 2, matters arising. There are no matters arising. Item 3, to elect members of the Fishermen's Mission Council. Can I have a proposer, please?
Edward Whittle.
Edward.
Mr. Chairman, under Articles 35 and 36, I move to re-elect members of the Mission Council, namely Dr. Jonathan Shepherd, Mr. Tom Meyer, and Mr. Ian Gatt.
Thank you. And the seconder, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, David Lacey. I'm happy to second that motion.
Thank you. And again, anybody have any concerns with that resolution? In that case, the resolution is approved. Moving on to item 4, to approve a temporary waiver for the total number of members of the Fishermen's Council. Can I have a proposer, please?
Mr. Chairman, Trevor James. Mr. Chairman, under Articles 25, 26 and 39, I move to exceptionally increase the maximum number of members of the Council allowed to 16 for the period May 2020 to April 2021, noting that this exceeds the maximum number of trustees of 15 allowed under the Articles.
Thank you. And a seconder?
Mr. Chairman, Ian Gatt here. I would like to second that motion.
Thank you, Ian. And again, anybody concerned with that resolution, please show. Thank you. The resolution is approved. I will be talking more. Some of you might be feeling a little confused as to why we're doing this. There is a fuller explanation in my report shortly, but it's all to do to enable measured succession and early improvements to our board diversity. And following the meeting, we will be advising the Charity Commission of this temporary waiver, as that is a requirement. So thank you for that. Moving on to item 5, to elect new members of the Fishermen's Mission Council. Can I have a proposer, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is Jonathan Shepherd. Mr. Chairman, under Article 26, I move to elect Mr. Matthew Cox, the Reverend Dirath Durkin, Mr. Nathan de Rosario, Ms. Kirsty Masters, Mrs. Helen Nichols, and Mrs. Kate Pound as members of the Council of the Fishermen's Mission.
Thank you, Jonathan. And a seconder, please.
Chairman, Libby Woodhatch here. I second that.
Thank you, Libby. Again, anybody not happy with the resolution put before you, please show. In that case, the resolution is duly approved. Thank you. Moving on to item 6, to approve auditors for the year 2020-21. Could I have a proposer, please?
Mr. Chairman, this is Tom Mayer. I'd like to propose that the Council considers that Mazars LLP continue to represent the best value for money. Therefore, I propose that Mazars LLP are approved as auditors for the Fishermen's Mission for the year 2020 to 2021 at a fee in the sum of £9,000 plus VAT.
Thank you, Tom. And a seconder, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, David Lacey here. Happy to second that motion.
Thank you.
I should say, Chairman, that should be financial year.
Absolutely right, Tom. Thank you. Noted. David, thank you. Any concerns with that resolution under item 6? Thank you. I declare that resolution approved. Right, item 7. That's my address. It's now nearly 2 years since I became the chairman, and the roller coaster ride continues. Looking back over our 2018-19 year, I'm pleased to report that the mission continued to deliver against all its strategic objectives, which the trustees reviewed and reaffirmed during the year. Our focus being on increasing the range and quality of the services provided to our beneficiaries, our raison d'etre. I congratulate all concerned with the very successful introduction of the Get Sea Fit programme. Improving the health of our fishermen by matching their needs to their availability and locations has proved to be a powerful solution to some of the growing problems we were witnessing. As life returns to a new normal in due course, broadening the scope of this project to include support for an increasing number of mental health issues will be a priority. Future financial resilience issues in fishing communities are also on our radar for the future. Funds permitting, there are some real opportunities here to build on the success of this innovative project. During the year, the potential impact of Brexit on the fishing industry, and more specifically the communities we serve, was never far from our discussions. These uncertainties have delayed our research into the potential needs of fishermen in Ireland, although relationship building continued apace. However, outreach to workers in the aquaculture industry, particularly in Scotland, has also gained further traction. The introduction and ongoing updating of our IT systems in recent years has proved vital in increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of our work, with more to come. David will expand on these and other activities in his report shortly. You will also be able to find more detail in the 2018-19 annual report, which has already been filed with the Charity Commission and Oscar in Scotland, and the excellent impact report, which provides a more user-friendly appreciation of what has been achieved. The latter replaces the annual review in response to the greater interest shown by our donors and supporters. From the financial perspective, 2018-19, I remind you that our financial year runs from November to October, was a steady year, and our resilience remained strong despite a more challenging fundraising backdrop. Whilst legacy and investment income performed to budget, the more traditional fundraising activities in an increasingly competitive world are becoming a greater challenge. The decision to increase our footprint in the digital fundraising arena is very welcome and already proving beneficial. Obviously, for this year, COVID-19 has impacted heavily on our incoming and outgoing resources, with our reserves down £337,000 since last October. However, thanks to the team at Saracen, this is significantly less than benchmark. More detail on our finances for 2018-19 and the current situation will be provided in David's presentation to follow. In terms of governance, I'd like to remind you of what I said at the last AGM about recruiting some new trustees and using the opportunity to grasp the diversity agenda and break out of the more traditional mould. As you'll now be aware, this task has been successfully carried out. I've been delighted with the interest shown and the quality and diversity of the applicants, which has led us to slightly overshoot our target, hence the resolution on the agenda to have 16 trustees until next April, when planned retirements will bring us back to quota. We didn't wish to miss the opportunities presented. I'm sure you will all join with me in welcoming our 6 new trustees to the Council. I have no doubt that their empathy, knowledge, life experience and enthusiasm will enhance our discussions and decision making as we deal with the many issues that lie ahead. Coming back to the present and the difficult circumstances we're all having to deal with, I'd like to express the heartfelt thanks of the Council to all who make the mission the effective, responsive and adaptable organisation it is proving to be. Those who continue to fund the vital work of the mission. We've been blessed with significant additional support from Trinity House and Seafarers UK, specifically for COVID-19, and are also getting excellent collaboration with the Seafarers Hospital Society, Shipwrecked Mariners Society, Sailors Children's Society, and the Royal Merchant Navy Educational Foundation. Finally, nothing would be achieved in terms of service delivery without the hard work of our dedicated staff. To those who present the outward face of the mission around the ports and those who provide essential management support and advice from head office at Whiteley, we say thank you. I've been particularly impressed with the way they have adapted to the unique requirements forced upon us by COVID-19, which could well lead to new ways of working in the future and other innovative developments. Under David's calm but determined leadership, the crisis is being well managed from a mission's perspective, with our longer-term sustainability high on the agenda. Unlike some other charities, we've not furloughed any of our staff. We've received specific grants to enable our work to support the hardest hit. Thankfully, due to careful stewardship and prudence, we have reserves to weather the immediate storm. Our frontline support on the coast is vital to supporting beneficiaries and in preparing the industry to return to sea. The staff underpin one of the great strengths of the mission, its ability to provide an end-to-end service, creating the vital link between hard-earned funds and our deserving beneficiaries. You, our association members, are at the heart of the mission structure. We're grateful to you and all our volunteers for the ongoing support and guidance so generously given to such a worthwhile organisation. Thank you. Right, I'm now handing over to David, who will flesh out some of the points I've made and give us his report for the year 2018-19. David.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And first, good morning to everybody. Lovely to see such a turnout. Well, I think I've said it every year since the last 8 years, but 2018-19 was another busy and productive year for the mission. And just to remind you what our mission is. But before I look at our work and its impact, I thought it would be helpful to update association members on the size and shape of your fishermen's mission today and how we approach our work. And I will also touch, as the chairman said, on finance and governance before providing a brief insight into our response to the current CV-19 crisis. On how we look, well, the number of staff declined gradually during the early 2000s as the large centres were either closed or replaced with self-help facilities. In recent years, numbers have increased to reflect the success of the outreach programme. Outreach entails meeting fishermen and their families where they are, even in the most remote areas, meaning that most of our port staff have very peripatetic lives. We currently have around 70 staff with nearly 50 port superintendents and a head office at Whiteley of around 13 full-time equivalent staff, including the fundraisers. In the new financial year, Council has approved the introduction of 3 area managers and a digital fundraising post. The latter squeaked into the team just before coronavirus and the lockdown, but interviews for the operations manager posts unfortunately have had to be held at the shortlist stage for the time being. While the traditional large centres have all gone, we still have 8 self-help mini centres, with 3 in Northern Ireland, 4 in Scotland and 1 in North Shields. While these facilities are there for all fishermen, the heaviest use is by migrant crew working in UK fishing, and free Wi-Fi and laundry facilities, unsurprisingly, are the services most in demand. Finally, on staff, volunteers remain a key element for us. It has to be said that increased legislation in the charitable sector has made the engagement and retention of high-quality volunteers a challenge for most charities, and the mission is no exception. On the operational front, this is a bit busy, but I think you should be able to see it. On the operational front, delivery of our traditional welfare and pastoral services was sustained and expanded, as you can see from the figures on this slide. Of particular note is the increase in the amount of financial support disbursed, which passed 1 million for the first time. Burgeoning debt and irregular or poor income are enduring problems, but during the period these issues are presenting even more regularly than in the past. We never underestimate the importance of the pastoral element, however, and often the arm around the shoulder can be all that is needed. Just knowing someone really cares can make a huge difference to those struggling with issues such as separation or other relationship issues, depression or anxiety, or the demands of children, particularly at the moment. Staff also made a number of referrals over safeguarding issues concerning beneficiaries during the year. Our operational impact also reflected Council's aspiration to extend and expand the scope of our services. In this, we have made good inroads to the aquaculture sector, especially in the Western Isles, Skye, Orkney and Shetland. There is more to do here, underlined by the pressure on growers during the current crisis. Another element of our expansion, which the Chairman touched on, was extending our offer to fishermen in Southern Ireland. Some progress at both the executive and operational level has been achieved, although uncertainties over Brexit on both sides of the border has restricted progress thus far. Better use and management of data endures as a strategic objective, with significant changes already in train during 2018-19 to rationalise all our client data. And with this loading, we decided to delay the rollout of our new client data system, but that is now back on track, I'm pleased to say. In nearly all aspects of our work, there is a drive for greater collaboration and partnership working, not only within the maritime charitable sector, but also well beyond. Nowhere is this more obvious than in the health and well-being initiatives, which remain a priority, in which we work closely with the Seafarers Hospital Society. The flagship for developments in this area, which is a high priority for trustees, has been the Get Seafit programme. Get Seafit is a collaborative endeavour with Seafarers Hospital Society and funding from Seafarers UK. But as it has unfolded, a huge range of partners have joined the clan. Get Seafit is an ambitious 2-year programme to tackle a range of health and wellbeing issues, from routine wellness and dental checks at the quayside to health and mental health trainers embedded in 3 ports, and active engagement with a range of national and local providers such as Macmillan, Prostate Cancer UK and Dente. This slide summarises the CFIT activity and impact to date. While the lockdown has forced a temporary hold on quayside events, the programme will be extended into 2021 to recover these, while the health trainers are still at work, albeit online. The immediate impact of the programme can be seen in the quayside interventions for serious issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes and urgent dental treatment. But almost more importantly, the programme has encouraged fishermen and their families to talk about a range of wellbeing issues. In particular, through the work of the mental health trainers, the taboos surrounding mental health issues in fishing are starting to ease. For instance, following a weekend of double fatalities in Cornwall, both mission staff and the mental health professionals were inundated with calls for counselling and other support from fishermen and their families. What is clear from the impact so far is that there are areas of wellbeing that will need to be extended well beyond the life of this programme, and we're already working on plans to take this forward. Let me go back. Sorry, I want to go back. In terms of finances, 2018-19 was a sound year for our finances, and although our operating deficit at 155,680 was over budget due to a modest shortfall in budgeted income, total voluntary income increased again, as it has for the last 5 years. The shortfall against budgetary requirements of voluntary income was mirrored across the charitable sector, with adverse publicity of some, mainly larger charities, believed to be at least partially responsible for the downturn. The improvement in the balance sheet position at year end in the large part reflected the healthy performance of investments, and this also led to the removal of the RBS pension deficit during the year. Clearly, as you've heard from the chairman, the current crisis has removed some of these gains, but to date, the approach of our investments manager, Saracen, seems to have protected our position much better than anticipated. There were a few minor issues with cash flow during 2018-19, mainly driven by timing, but this challenge is and will be much greater as a result of COVID-19, which has seen a near 50% reduction in voluntary income in the March to May 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. Additional support from Trinity House and Seafarers UK to help with the coronavirus situation was most welcome, but we will need to sweat all existing fundraising streams and exploit new opportunities as we emerge from the crisis, and of course as the appetite for special support for the CV crisis reduces. On the governance front, for management, the key here has been the compliance with an ever-increasing amount of legislation and the resultant expansion of policies, checks and controls, and so forth. But simply, doing good is no longer good enough, and we must ensure that all staff, volunteers and trustees are properly trained and briefed. From cybersecurity to safeguarding and equality and diversity to GDPR, there is a plethora of legal requirements for which staff must be trained and resources allocated to ensure consistency and legal compliance. In particular, there is an increased and increasing focus on environmental, social and governance considerations in all aspects of the mission's business. This is reflected in even small measures such as shifting to petrol rather than diesel vehicles over time, with an aspiration to go electric when the tech and the costs permit, and using recycled paper for the hard copies of this year's impact report, which Michael alluded to earlier. Learning from our current situation, it seems likely that physical attendance at meetings will reduce, while other more flexible working arrangements may deliver both environmental and cost benefits. Even a cycle to work scheme is being considered. And I haven't done that for over 15 years. That completes my review of the last mission year, but given the exceptional nature of the coronavirus pandemic, it would be remiss of me not to give association members a brief picture of how the mission has responded to the coronavirus pandemic. So let's go back one. Go back one. Most importantly, for fishing, CV19 came swift on the heels of a very stormy winter that had restricted fishing opportunities, especially for smaller boats. During January to March this year, Fishermen's Mission and our grant-making partners were coping with much higher than normal demand for support even before coronavirus hit. As the pandemic grew, the majority of markets, especially foreign markets, for UK seafood collapsed, with shellfish fishermen the most severely hit. For smaller operators, the financial impact was almost immediate, and this remains the sector needing the most help. In terms of our response, this summarises where we have gone. The centres were closed even before lockdown, mainly because skippers felt that they could become centres of spreading. But one of the real success stories has been all staff working from home, with many other staff, particularly the fundraisers, modifying their roles to fulfil other vital purposes, such as phoning round the old, elderly, infirm and lonely to make sure they knew we were still there. Another real win from this was that establishing many strong links with local providers, from food banks to community volunteer groups, which have enabled us to continue our support across a wide ranging field. In terms of the impact, last year, as you saw from the stats, we did about 4,000 interactions with beneficiaries during the year, 3,000 interactions since the 1st of March to today's date so far related to CV19. And as you can see, a significant amount of financial assistance provided, and in particular, a large number of fishermen's children benefiting from additional help from the Royal Merchant Navy Education Foundation and the Sailors Children's Society in particular. In terms of CV-related need, we judge the worst is yet to come when increased debts come into payment as government assistance comes to an end. I fear that many of our fishermen will be forced to give up if markets do not recover and recover quickly. The ongoing support of grant makers and our valued donors will be essential. More generally, I'm keen that we take many of the advantages, savings arising from remote working into routine ways of working. For instance, I've mentioned reduced travel, electronic invoicing and expenses, and greater flexibility with working patterns. We have certainly found new ways to support our fishing communities that we must build on for the future. And finally, I think it's worth saying that the fishing industry has always faced many challenges. And over 140 years, the Fishermen's Mission has met these challenges alongside the fishing communities we serve. In many ways, CV19 is just another of these challenges, albeit very serious. And it is telling that our support has been sustained without a break. I'd echo my chairman's view that this is due entirely to the dedication, flexibility, sheer determination, and of course, kindness of the mission's wonderful staff. But CV19 is not the whole picture. although its impact will be felt for many months, if not years. We must sustain our strategic development to allow us to continue to respond to future needs and challenges amongst our hard-pressed fishing communities. Thank you for listening.
The chairman is still here, paying attention. Thank you, David. That's excellent report, and I hope that association members and our volunteers find it encouraging. Life is difficult, but progress is being made, and we're very grateful for it. We now come on to item 9, any other business. If I'm inundated with questions, my IT skills might fail me, but Dean is on hand to look after things. Are there any questions from anybody attending, please?
Yes, please, Chairman. Stephen Lockwood.
Stephen.
It was gratifying to see that the pension fund deficit has been eradicated, but £1.25 million in 1 year is quite a lot to recover. Is it a real recovery that will be sustained, or was it merely an accountant's sleight of hand that may come back next year or the year after?
Well, I'm sure it wasn't an accountant's sleight of hand, but the expert in this field is Sir Jeremy, who is chairman of the RBS trustees. So I'm going to do a sloping shoulder in his direction for him to give you a fuller answer. Jeremy.
Thank you very much indeed, Chairman, for sloping that my way. The pensions fund at the moment stands at about 102% of its requirement to pay all the pensions. It is a closed pensions fund, and we have 92 members. It requires about £10.5 million, and we've got a bit more than that. Yes, we were well ahead of that before the corona slump. We have lost a lot less because we are more safeguarded in our investments. We lost a lot less than the markets would judge, and to settle above 100% is actually a very good result. We will continue to build the reserves to give us that head of steam while we work out what we do next. But all pensions are safeguarded. It wasn't an accountant's sleight of hand. It was the loss on the markets as a result of the coronavirus depression. Thank you, Chairman. I hope that has answered the question.
Thank you, Jeremy. Stephen, are you happy with that response?
Greatly reassured. Thank you very much.
Good, good. Well, that's why Sir Jeremy is chairman of the RBS. He has all these fingers, all these figures are constantly at his fingertips. Any more questions, please? You're making my day. This is wonderful. Right. Well, if everybody's happy, I would say that because of the medium we're using, if somebody reflects and feels they did have a question.
I have a question.
All right.
I'm Andrew Duncan, Peterhead. Been an associate member since 1970. We missed the first 10 minutes of the programme. Could you tell us the names of the new trustees?
I can. Right with paper. Matthew Cox. Dereth Durkin. Sorry,
I have them to hand, Michael. Would you like me to read them out? It's Alison.
Yes, can you? I just want to make sure I get them right.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
the other four.
Andrew, the new trustees are Matthew Cox, Reverend Dereth Durkin, Nathan de Rosario, Kirsty Masters, Helen Nichols, and Kate Pound.
Okay, thanks for that. Is there anybody from Scotland?
Not amongst those, but you actually have two trustees from Scotland already in the form of Ian Gatt and David Lacey.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's,
Chairman, can you hear me? James Hanratty here. Can I ask a question, please? This may be outside the remit of of this wonderful charity, and David gave a wonderful report there. But as we know, Brexit talks are continuing with the EU. At the moment, Frost is our leader and there's Michel Barnier on the other side. There is a rumour that the interests of our fishing may be sacrificed for the benefit of other concessions from the European Union in relation to the city. And I just wonder whether it is within the remit of our charity to remind the government that our fishermen are brave, male and female, brave and resourceful people, and we need our fishing grounds in order for them to have an income and for ourselves to have fish. And therefore, there should not be any concessions made by our government to prejudice our fishermen.
Thank you. I'm going to ask David to respond to that, the Chief Executive.
James, first, lovely to see you, and I hope Pam is well. Clearly, you'll understand that we never have been, and I don't think we ever will be, a political charity that climbs on its soapbox. But what I could reassure you through everything from all party parliamentary groups on fishing to influences within and without the industry and communities, we major on the fact that fishing isn't just about the fishing. Fishing isn't just about fisheries. Fishing is about whole communities and whole ways of life. And most of our fishing communities come from some of the most deprived communities on the national index of deprivation. So we are advocates, James, let me reassure you, we are advocates for not only sustaining but building the resilience of our much needed fishing industry. I hope that helps, James.
Thank you, David. James, you happy?
I'm just unmuted. Yes, I'm happy as ever, and I pay particular tribute to all the staff and the trustees and you for the magnificent work that you are doing. That gives me the Order of Brown Nose.
Thank you. Obviously, you know, this particular medium is new for most of us, but we certainly seem to have conducted the business of the day. I just want to make sure that nobody else has any further comments they wish to make, either in regard to the questions that have been asked or any other questions before I draw a line under AOB. Everybody happy? Right, okay, well in that case I'll move on to closing remarks before we have the awards. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings our formal business to a close, and whilst this occasion has not enjoyed the benefits of face-to-face interactions between us, I think we've all demonstrated that the Fisherman's Mission has the determination and resilience to function regardless of extreme external factors. The date and hopefully location of the 2021 AGM will be advised in due course. Thank you for attending and for your valued support of the mission and its work. It does make a real difference to the lives of those we serve. God bless you all, and the meeting is closed. Thank you. Now, two things before you all race off into the sunshine. One point I wanted to make, one of our association members is actually fishing 15 miles south of Start Point, but he is online in the Mike Smith in Julie of Ladram. I hope he's got a very full net, but I think that's probably a first for the mission, having somebody actually doing the business during an AGM, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now I'm going to hand over to Ali Godfrey, our Director of Business Development, to introduce the annual fundraising awards. It is a real shame we cannot show our appreciation to the awardees in person. However, it's even more important that we carry on as normally as possible. So Ali, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Morning, everyone. Lovely to see you all in the way that we are now currently becoming accustomed to. As usual, we like to push the IT limits at our AGMs, and today is no exception. So we're going to try to show the slides of our fundraising award winners. And at the same time, Dean, who is ably assisting me, is going to try and find from the 53 people who are joining us, the award winners who are with us, and to put their image on the screen. So if you are an award winner, we may ask you to unblock your video so that the other people who are attending can see you. The Fisherman's Mission is no exception at this time in being extremely grateful to all our family and friends. There's been, as David said, a considerable increase in the need for our vital services, and at the same time donations have dropped and will become increasingly hard to come by. So it's therefore even more appropriate to take this time to express our gratitude to all of you who support us in such a variety of different ways. So I'm really pleased today to be able to announce the winners of the Fundraising Awards for 2019 and also the Stanley Pritchard Award, and to thank all of you who've managed to be able to join us from my computer to your computer, and hopefully technology will hang on with us. So fingers crossed, everybody, and here we go. So the first award, please, Dean. The first award is the Fish and Chip Shop of the Year, and as always it's a fiercely competitive award as we have got so many friends in the fish and chip shop industry. This year we are presenting the award to HILLYCROFT Fisheries, who are based in Morley in Leeds. Their new owner, Raphael Chandler, has carried on the 11-year-old tradition of giving an annual donation to us, and so the winner of the Fish and Chip Shop of the Year award is HILLYCROFT Fisheries. Our next award is the Volunteer of the Year, and this is awarded to a volunteer who works with us at head office, Sue CONCANNON, or Sue C as we call her. She comes in 1 day a week, helps us to keep our database tip-top form, and does all our legacy administration paperwork for us as well. Sue is always willing to dig in and to help, and there she is. Hello, Sue. Hello. Always helping us dig in there. Sue helps whenever required, particularly has a keen prowess in being able to send out hundreds and hundreds of packs of Christmas cards very speedily. So we're incredibly grateful to you, and our Volunteer of the Year award is to Sue CONCANNON, with all our very, very grateful thanks to, and thank you for joining us today. The Plymouth Seafood Festival has gone from strength to strength under the very careful guidance and monumental effort of Alison and David Purcell. They've always been very strong supporters of our cause and have become our very good friends. we hope its success will continue when the event can return. But in the meantime, our grateful thanks to you, and the Fundraising Event of the Year Award 2019 is for the Plymouth Seafood Festival. You can do little quiet rounds of applause, actually. Yes, thank you, David. That would be nice. The Fundraising Team Award is often made to those who have pushed themselves to their limits, and this year is no exception. The MEVAGISSEY walk was organised by Beth West, and 11 of her friends joined her to walk the 15 miles from Fowey to MEVAGISSEY in Cornwall, really testing themselves and their fitness. I think, if I remember right, it was actually also pouring with rain on that particular day, and they raised £12,000 to help us in our work, which was just formidable, and we're really, really very, very grateful to them and all the publicity that they raised along the way. So the Fundraising Team Award this year is to the MEVAGISSEY Walk team. Porthleven is a beautiful Cornish village with a very busy fishing harbour, and the restaurant The Square in Porthleven sits right by the harbour and is definitely a must-go-to place if ever you're lucky enough to visit Porthleven. Stu and Anna Eddy have helped us with just about every event that we've held in Porthleven, and we have a lot of events there. It's a very popular place for us. And they're also very strong supporters of our restaurant campaign. So over 12 years, they've asked their customers to make a donation when they're presented with the bill to our work. And they have donated to us nearly £8,000 over this period. And they've really, really helped to put us on the Porthleven map. And in fact, the Fisherman's Mission flag flies most days in the harbour there, which is just wonderful. So the Restaurant of the Year award goes to The Square in Porthleven. Our individual fundraiser of the year award this year is awarded to Nicole Hewson, who's offered her own words to us, and I'd like to share those with you. She says, "I'm very surprised and also very emotional to receive this award from you guys. It means so much to me that I've been recognised for the fundraising I did last year at the Great Scottish Run. I chose to raise money for the Fisherman's Mission as it is a charity very close to myself and my family. On the 27th of June, it will be 9 years since my uncle Carl Anderson was lost at sea. Over those past 9 years, we've been so lucky to have the amazing support of Aubrey Jameson, who works in Shetland. After running the 10K in memory of my uncle, I hoped to raise awareness for the Fisherman's Mission so that you are able to keep supporting fishermen and other families in need." A wonderful testimony there from Nicole, and thank you for putting in that effort and running for us at the Scottish Run. So the Fundraiser of the Year award is Nicole Hewson. As an actively Christian charity, we are always grateful to those who pray for us and support us spiritually. The Congregation of Eldham Church in Birmingham have for the last 2 years actually welcomed us into their church as we go to our annual training conference, which is held nearby. We've been able to worship with them and to use their lovely facilities. They've really become our friends, and we're really sorry not to be seeing them this year. And their vicar, Toby Crow, who I believe is also online with us, has a message to send to you.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you. Thank you so much. But we also thank God for you, mentioning you in our prayers. That's what St. Paul says in the first letter to the Thessalonians. And we do pray for you often, and we do thank him for the relationship between the Fisherman's Mission and Elmton Church. And we're really looking forward to working with you again in the years to come. And our hope is that this award, which you've so kindly given to us, will be a sign of the desire on both sides to grow together in faith, in hope, and in love. As St. Paul says in the second letter to the Thessalonians, "Now may the God of peace himself give you peace at all times and in every way, and may the Lord be with you all." Thanks, friends. Well,
Lovely. Thank you so much, Toby. That's wonderful, and we very much look forward to seeing you all again next year. The Friendship Award is this year awarded to a very well-established and well-known marine life artist who very kindly took part in our national fundraising event, Capture the Day. He was asked to do so by our port officer in the South Coast, whose name is Nick O'Neill. The artist, also Nick O'Neill, saw the immediate connection that we were aiming for and agreed to take part. He produced, as you can see here, the most beautiful piece of artwork for us. It was absolutely stunning. He then agreed to paint another fish, a ceramic fish for us, which was presented to the International Christian Maritime Association group at their conference in Taiwan, presented by David, who was attending, and remains a permanent representation of the connection between us and all the members of that association. We have now managed to twist his arm also for another painting for our new calendar next year. So the very, very strong Friendship Award this year for 2019 is Nick O'Neill. Our Partnership Award is selected by Dean Lawrence, who is ably doing all the background IT there for me, another skill that he's been recently adding to his CV. And this year, Dean has chosen Henry Colbeck. Henry Colbeck's have been friends with us for more than 20 years, and Georgina Colbeck was a great support to Dean when he first joined the Fishermen's Mission team. During our time of working together, they have donated a staggering £59,000 to help our work, which is a wonderful, wonderful support. And also one of their workers goes and collects Alberts all around Scotland and replaces them with, Alberts are our little collecting boxes, by the way, for those who don't know, and helps to replace them, which is a wonderful service as well. So this year, our 2019 Partnership Award goes to Henry Colbeck Limited. Twitter and all things digital, as Michael and David have both alluded to, has become more and more important over the past few years, but particularly at this point. And the appointment of our digital marketing fundraiser is another indication of how important this new medium is to us. Jim Portus needs little introduction to those in the Fishermen's Mission family. He's an ex-trustee, the mastermind behind Fishdoc, and runner of many, many marathons in our favour. He never fails to promote our work at any opportunity. He is now going to thank you for his award in his own imitable fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jim Portus.
I say a big thank you to the Fishermen's Mission for the Twitter Friend of the Year Award 2019. We'll meet again.
Jim, you're a star. Thank you so much for that, and very, very gratefully that you support us so well on Twitter, and you're a Twitter Friend of the Year. Our Outstanding Achievement Award this year is given to our wonderful friends at the Fish and Chip restaurant Captain Jasper's in Plymouth. It's an iconic attraction in the area, and Georgie Curtin and her team have been raising money for us for over 22 years. They make regular donations, always publicise our work, and take part enthusiastically in National Fish and Chip Day and Fish Friday. Over the past 22 years, they have donated an extraordinary £41,000, which is just amazing, and we are deeply, deeply grateful to you for your friendship and your support and all the hard work that your team put into raising funds and helping us at the Fishermen's Mission. If ever you're in Plymouth, I do recommend any of you who are there to go and have a meal at Captain Jasper's. It's a pretty outstanding place to be. Our Outstanding Achievement Award for this year goes to Captain Jasper's in Plymouth. Our final award is the Stanley Pritchard Award. Those of you who've been at our AGMs previously will know that Stanley Pritchard was a member of staff who really took the lead in raising funds and raising the profile of the Fishermen's Mission in the 1970s. This award is chosen by the Council of Trustees and presented normally by them. For many years, Jane Hilton-King has been a friend to the port staff at Grimsby. She has been a dedicated volunteer and a fierce promoter of our work at every opportunity. Through the ups and downs of the fishing in Grimsby, Jane has always stood by our fishermen and supported our work. With a recent change as a new mission area officer joined Grimsby, Jane has been a great support to her and has offered her a lot of help and introduced her to all the right people. Fog FM, Friends of Fishermen, and they do have the badges to prove it. Jane is a huge friend to the Fishermen's Mission and a very, very worthy recipient of this year's Stanley Pritchard Award. And the Council therefore are very proud to present the Stanley Pritchard Award to Jane Hilton-King. And we have a short video that has a few little blips in it, but it is wonderful to watch. So here is Jane. Takes a little bit of time to join us. Okay.
Corresponding with her 30th birth year, she has been a continuous face of the mission at every opportunity, supporting us from the background, raising funds, organising dinners and dances, but also from the front, attending any public event and helping to raise our profile. I have put Jane forward for the Stanley Pritchard Award for all of her work done during 2019, but also for her work over all the years. Thank you very much to the Council for awarding this to our Jane. And it's unfortunate, the situation at the moment, but I know that you appreciate it, and I hope you know how much we appreciate you.
Could I just give a little message back?
Yes.
Could I just thank, I know David, who I met a few years ago, lovely chief exec, and I miss you, David, if you're seeing this. And I enjoyed coming down to headquarters with Paul when we were looking at photographs of all these things, Grimsby and the docks. But what is special for me is actually being given the opportunity to come and work with Fishermen's Mission, because it was really Derek Young who, in my mayoral year, I knew Derek and his wife really well. I came to so many functions. I got this phone call, Jane, would you do me a favour? Would you come and join us? I said it would be an honour. So actually working then in the very early days of Fishermen's Mission. And the other thing we used to do is organise the open days on the docks. Yeah. So we had big open days. Yes. So I've got lots of memories, lots of fun we've had on these fun days out, and especially on the Cleethorpes, all dressed up as fishermen, fisherwomen. I've never lived that day down. But thank you, David, and thank you to all those on the panel who've given me the opportunity to receive this most wonderful, prestigious award. It's going to be in my home, it's going to hang up proudly, and I'd say thank you on behalf of the fishermen. And thank you, Sue, because I think we're so lucky at getting you here. So you've got me.
This is Jane's 20th year as a volunteer with.
So that's a big thank you to everybody who helps us, who raised funds for us, who volunteers for us, who prays for us and thinks for us. We are truly, truly grateful. And as you know, we really could not achieve anything without all of you. I'm watching Twitter on my left-hand side here, because we've been shortlisted for a national business award for the Get Seafit programme, and the Twitter feed is slowly giving out the results, but I think we're going to be the last one. But should we actually win our first ever national award, we will make sure we let you all know. So that concludes all our awards for this year. And again, many thanks to you all, and lovely to see you all with us today. And I'm going to hand back over now to Michael, who's going to bring the meeting to a close. Michael.
Thank you, Ali. Well done. Your awards are always something we look forward to, and even done remotely, it doesn't devalue them in any way. And our congratulations again to all the very deserving awardees from around the country, and thanks for what they have done to gain their awards. Well, that's it really. That brings our 2020 AGM and the awards to a conclusion. Thank you all for attending. It has been a bit of a unique occasion, certainly as for me. But we seem to have got through it. The business has been done. The mission can, get on with its business with knowing that your support is there. That is greatly appreciated. So thank you for all you continue to do, both to the association members, my fellow trustees, a growing band of good people, and of course, David, the executive, and the staff team who really keep the show on the road and us pointing in the right direction. So enjoy the rest of what I hope is a sunny day for all of you. And thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next year.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Before then, I hope.
Bye,
Cheerio.
everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
Leave.
Exit full screen. There it is.
Well, there we go.
Are we down to 3 now?
Let's
Yeah,
just.
it's just us. Well
Harry,
done. Well done, Dean.
God, that was a bit stressful.
Well, we got there. If we can get somebody 15 miles south of start point, I thought that was great.